It's hard to say that they were even there to begin with. What's going on, my ninjas? It is OMNIETC, Omni, etc. Warframe OG here, back with another video, another build. 1999 is doing fine, but right now that isn't what we're going to talk about in this video. That's going to be for another video. Today we're going to be talking about this lovely lady here, Banshee, with my own personal build. There may be others like it, but this one's mine. Death Echo. This build is deadly. It takes out droves of mobs, does massive damage. I've been able to be on the top of the charts in nearly all the parties that I've been in because of this build. And what even more is, this version of Banshee is all melee. Well, not all, but it's primarily melee. So, without further, where are my manners? Before we get into the build, shout out to my new subscribers. Without y'all, I wouldn't have the motivation to continue to do these videos and continue to push out this content. Dell 0015, Dragon King Gaming, Manny, Mordor, Just Call Me Civ, and Father of All Cats. Shout out to y'all. Appreciate the new subs rolling in. And yeah, I got some new digs, compliments of 1999 and whatnot. But for the sake of this video, as we're not diving into 1999 just yet, for the sake of this video, we're going to jump into the build. So, start off, let's talk about the Archon Shards. These blue shards, all the blues are armor shards. I got one yellow, well, one amber, maximum energy fill, maximum energy on spawn shard, and one melee critical damage, as this is again a critical build. So we got a good chunk of survivability. With that, let's go into the abilities and the swapped out abilities. Okay, so Banshee's passive, which is so dope. Weapon noises are hushed so that enemies cannot hear them. So no matter what weapon you're using, it could be a rocket launcher, could be a grenade launcher, could have big booms, explosions, and the like. What's not gonna happen is the enemy being alerted to a single sound. Bullet ricochets, none of that matters on Banshee. You can blow stuff up to your heart's content right next to other mobs, and if they're not looking in the direction, well, you just got away with it. So the passive, silenced weapons, love it. Now, first ability was push. I swapped it out for gloom. We're just going, this is a buff slash a buff debuff, well, pretty much a debuff slash hack and slash build, weapons platform, if you will. Banshee makes a great weapons platform, and this is the reason why. So gloom slows down your targets till they pretty much stop moving, and you get a bit of life steal on all the damage that you do. This persists not only for yourself but also for your squad mates. So any of your allies that are in gloom's area of effect will also benefit from the life steal. So Banshee is a party at the party. And slowing down the mobs, which means you can get great headshots off with your other arms, but we're going to be talking about melee today. Sonar, of course. Acoustic echolocation. Banshee sonar power finds and tracks enemies and exposes their critical weak spots, not just for her but everybody in the squad. Damage multiplier is considerable, as you can see. And that's before critting. So imagine what it is when you start critting. More on that later. Silence. All right. This is the heavy lifter. I don't care what anyone says. Silence. It projects an aura that anybody that comes within that aura stuns the enemy. All right. Will limit their perceptions and technical response to gunfire and Warframe attacks. So while they're in this bubble, they can't really hear sound too well. So even your squad mates are kind of sonically hushed in this area of effect. Notice that I have Savage Silence on there, which we know what that does from my prior video, my Ash Prime video. Check it out here. Savage Silence, excuse me. Savage Silence, Silence Augment. Silence staggers enemies and finisher damage is increased by 300%. That is affected. That bonus to finisher damage is affected by ability power. As you can see, took it from 300, now it's at 804%, so 8 times the amount of finisher damage. Now a nice interaction and synergy between Silence and Gloom, and the reason why I put Gloom on Banshee to begin with is that when you have Silence active, or let's start with Gloom, when you have Gloom active, the slow of Gloom increases the animation time of the stun effect for Silence. So essentially it draws out the window that a finisher can be performed on the targets. It is absolutely insane. It's crazy, and it feels really good after you just wiped a whole bunch of enemies. You ever get annoyed when you wipe a whole bunch of, like a whole room of enemies, and there's just like one guy left? You just walk up to him and dig your daggers in and finish him off with the coup de grace. My bad. Soundquake, not really that important to build, but I already swapped out Push, so I didn't swap out Soundquake. Soundquake, it just basically sends out pulses and pulses of sound that will then shake the entire arena and do some damage, but not a significant amount of damage. But it is a good channel piece CC. So if your back's up against the wall for whatever reason that Gloom and Silence isn't taking care of it, you can use Soundquake. It's somewhat effective, but not as effective as Gloom and Silence in tandem. I'll tell you that. All right, so we got the abilities knocked out the way of Banshee. Now, let's get into the upgrades, the mods, the heavy lifters. All right, so I don't have a steel fiber on here because I already put the Archon Shards on, so that saves me a mod slot there. Arcane Battery saves me a mod slot for Flow. I don't need to put Flow on here. If you checked out my recent Chroma build video, Enter Elden Frame, check that build out. You'll see exactly what Arcane Battery does if you haven't read it here. Basically, it turns energy. It takes armor points, and for armor points, it matches that up. Not one for one, but matches it up somewhat. It bases your additional energy off of your armor points. All right, let's get into the mods. Steel Charge, 60% melee damage for the squad, right? And that's not just for you, that's for the squad. The Eximus slot, no, not Eximus, Exilis, pardon me. Power Drift for that, a little additional ability strength. Like we said, it goes well with Savage Silence. Just to cap off that Savage Silence at 800%. Additional ability strength and some knockdown resist, because, you know, as a melee, you kind of want to resist some knockdown. You don't want to be too susceptible to it. So it's always good on melee brawlers to have that in the build. Prime Continuity extends the duration of your abilities that are duration based. Savage Silence, we were already over that. Stretch for the ability range. Vitality, because you want the health over the shields. Really, the shields aren't really that important to this build. The health is what you are able to generate back for yourself, so you want to lean into health more than shields. Blind Rage, ability efficiency. You're working with so much energy that your efficiency, you don't really have to care that much about the efficiency. And thinking efficiently, you're probably only going to use 1-2 abilities the entire time, and they're duration based, so you will have time as you are downing mobs to get your energy back via orbs and things of that nature. So more ability strength, intensify ability strength, augur message, ability duration, and with the caveat of some of the energy that you spend will build back your shields. Adaptation, because even with 810 armor, trust me on this, in-game content for melees, I expect every melee build to come with adaptation, just so that they can stay in the fray. All right, like I said, this is a melee build. Now, this is great because she could just walk up to mobs with gloom. She can rock whatever weapon. Any weapon actually works pretty daggone well on this. Any weapon will do. But the weapon that I like to use specifically is the Okina Prime for the melee. Before we get to the build of the Okina Prime, specifically the Okina Prime with the Incarnate Genesis, all right, let's talk about the other arms. Now, Finmore, like I said, the weapon really doesn't matter, but I'd like to have something hard hitting that can swap from single shot to single shot bolt action pinpoint to essentially being a Gatling gun, and that's what Finmore does with its Incarnate Genesis. So I got a pretty basic setup here for it. This is pretty much for murmur and whatnot with the radiation. But over here, I got primary dexterity, which focuses on melee kills, building that damage up. And also comes with the caveat of extending your combo count duration. Very important when we get into the Okina Prime. And that melee damage also stacks with the status damage that we're going to get into, and the crit damage and all of that. So it's about to get very disgusting very soon. Especially in the demonstration. All right, Latum. All right, I got secondary shiver on it. I actually I'm of the mind to form this again to build out the weapon, but I won't be using this weapon very often on this build, as you will see. So secondary shiver for cold status, and you might be asking, how many cold status? I saw electricity on your melee. Where's the cold coming from? Very soon we're going to get into that, but yeah, I keep secondary shiver on it. If not, I would have secondary dexterity. Where is it at? Yeah, secondary dexterity for that additional melee damage and that additional combo duration. But I'm keeping secondary shiver on it just because per cold status, I think it's a maximum of 10 that you can have on it. But where is this cold status effect coming from? Okina Prime. Okay, the bread and butter of the build, of any melee build, is the melee weapon. So check this out. Start off with Spinning Needle, okay? If you need to get Spinning Needle, I suggest you do, because it has good slashes. And Okina Prime is primarily a slash weapon. As you can see, the primary damage is slash damage. Ignore that electricity for now. All right, Mentor's Legacy, because I want to enable Tennokai, which gives me the occasional opportunity to trigger a heavy attack without costing combo counter points, and it does so instantly without very much wind up. So this is good to have if you on an incarnate weapon. If the bread and butter, like this build, this Okina Prime build's bread and butter revolves around the combo point system for scalability of damage, and you don't want to waste a bunch of points, nor do you want to go into heavy waste any slots on heavy attack efficiency. You don't want to waste a bunch of points just to lose it all, just to transform into the incarnate form, and then you can just pick right back up and continue to do damage. We have melee influence, and we know what that does from, again, my Chroma build video. It basically turns all your status damage for the duration of the buff. It turns all your status damage into a AoE effect, and it says 20%, but for me it seems like 100%. It's for me. I don't know how y'all do it. Now let's go into the scalability mods first. Blood Rush, critical chance per combo point multiplier. Weeping Wounds, status chance per combo point per combo multiplier. So that's 12 times. So 12 times 40% for both of those. As you can see, that increases very quickly. Galvanized Elementalist, status 80% plus 80%, excuse me, status damage on melee kill is the caveat. On melee kill further increases your status chance for 20 seconds by 30% up to 4 times. So it stacks up to 4 times. That stacks with Weeping Wounds. Okay. And so you're guaranteed, your blades are elemental at that point. So the electricity, with the slash, you're doing considerable damage. Then you have additional status damage that's not being represented here, by the way. That's not being represented here. Like if I take this mod off, it's not going to be represented here. All right. I wish it was, so it'd be easier for y'all to read, but 80% of that number on top of it, and then it was, the status chance increase and all of that. Got Organ Shatter and Gladiator Might. Those are both critical damage mods, and they bring the critical hit damage multiplier up to a considerable 7.5 times, 7.5 times. We have Finishing Touch, because finishers are part of this Banshee build, and then where the electricity damage is coming from with the Voltaic Strike, which also increases status chance. So you're definitely going to be doing a lot of electric damage, right? But where Okina Prime shines is its incarnate form, right? The incarnate form, the kills in incarnate form generates spectral daggers that target enemies, applying max cold stacks. Again, max cold stacks, which max cold stacks instantly freezes that target. All right. So when we talk about max cold stacks, I believe it's 10. So 10 times whatever this number is. So now you go from doing 22 on one stack to 225 on max. And I'm not even all the way done. By the time I'm done, it's going to be 45 times 10. So that's 450 with the cold shiver. That's why I put it on the length. But what I got rocking, I got additional status damage rocking on it, and that would get transferred through melee influence. I got the additional status damage that stacks up to 5 times, 6% by 5 times. So that's an additional 30%. That's on top of the additional 80% that I already have. So that would be a total of 110% plus status damage when it's all said and done. They're daggers, but this makes them short swords, so additional range, because that range is important to me, at least. You can do what you want. Increase base status chance by 12%. So further increase in status chance, and then increase in status duration. So if these blades were on fire instead of electricity like melee influence requires, the fire would continue to burn away at them. If they were toxin blades, the toxin would last a quarter of the time longer. So, gotta keep it up, gotta get to it now. Now, here comes the fun part. The demonstration. All right. Now it's time to show y'all what this does for real. Let's max up. Max it out. So we're going to start with a hardcore enemy. We're going to start with the strongest sentience. I'm going to start off with these sentients, right? These are the honor guard of the Archons in the Archon Hunt weekly, right? So these are pretty hardy sentients, the Aerolists. Let's generate them max level for my mastery rank. Woo! And now they just all here above me and start hacking away at them. Just like that, they're all done. I don't think any of them are left. Let me take the field off of them. Yep, that's it. I can spar them again, and now that I'm starting off in incarnate form, you see the dagger floating around me. Now let's see what it is when I start in incarnate form, right? Yep. Oh, I'm not even in gloom. I forgot to put gloom back on. Let's do that again with gloom so y'all can get the full effect. White. Killed so many of them. I got 3 daggers floating around me right now. Let's do Eximus. I'm gonna type in X. What's a good Eximus unit? Hardy. Can fight back, sorta. You know what? let's do the heavy gunners. Why not? Because why not? They're resistant to radiation, so they should be somewhat resistant to electricity. That's my theory. You know, they're gonna fall like the rest. Let's go. Yep. And that's why you need the knockdown resist. Imagine if I didn't have any on me. Done. Let's see. Okay, that was nice. Let's do Grenier. Let's try Eximus Grenier. Eximus Grenier. Let's do Troopers. Impact and corrosive are what they're vulnerable to. I'm not packing either one of those. None of those damages apply to me. It's hard to say that they were even there to begin with. So this is the power. This is the power of Banshee. This is the power of Banshee. She's the ultimate debuffer. With Gloom and Silence, it just makes it unfair for all the mobs. You know, when you see her, by the time they see her, it's already too late. She's already got them debuffed in so many ways that you can't even do anything. And I didn't even use her sonar. Okay, just keep that in mind. I did not use her sonar. Now, let's see how this works against regular troops. Actually, we're going to do one of these. We're just going to do one of them. Oh, it's done. Wow. Now I can finish it. Oh, wait. Oh, there it is. Okay. I shouldn't have did a sentient. That's my fault. I really shouldn't have did a sentient. Let me do... I did Eximus gunners. Let me do one heavy gunner. Heavy gunner. Yeah, let's do one heavy gunner. Or frontier heavy gunner. Just to spice it up a bit. Let's do a frontier gunner. Alright. Oh, is that an Eximus too? That's an Eximus too. Yeah. I'll give you the mercy. Oh, it's already dead. Never mind. Eesh. Alright. Yeah, I forgot. That's a Eximus. I want a gunner. Yeah. Ooh, Dreknar. Drekgar. That sounds fancy. Let's do the fancy one. Oh, that's an Eximus. I'm not falling for that again. Alright. So as you can see, it's kneeling over. I can finish this at any point in time. And I'm invisible with Shade Prime, so it's the same exact Shade Prime that I use on my Ash Prime build. And just like that, we can do it with... Let me see how many I can do. Let's do 5 real quick. Just real quick. Yep. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, you're still alive? Huh. I thought you died from one of the daggers, but I'm not in Incarnate anymore. Now I am. But yeah, great build. I recommend 10 out of 10. Like I said, Shade Prime above me is the same Shade Prime I use in my Ash Prime video. I'm not going to reiterate that just for this video. You'll have to go watch that here. And yeah, peace, love, health, wealth to you all. Till the next time. 1999 content coming soon, but I had to give something to the people of value before I just, you know, be on my BS, because y'all know I can get on my BS. Anyway, peace to all the ninjas throughout the Omniverse. Till next time.
See, it's the big we choose. Let us in, we're the guardians, baby, let the stakes rise.